Attacking football.
Attacking football.
Attacking football.
Attacking football.
Hello and welcome to another Attacking Football live stream. This week we are going to be talking all things transfers. We are going to be talking about the controversy at the Ballon d'Or, and we're going to be discussing a little bit about our guest football team, Newcastle United. So, speaking of our guest, Jack, welcome back to the podcast, mate. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for the invite back. As I was saying to you before, it's been a good few months since I've been on.
Yeah.
I did enjoy it last time. I really enjoyed it. And it's not all shows you can say that about. Like sometimes it can be a bit dry. But I generally found the last one really fun. So it's been a long time.
Because I wasn't on it, I think.
Yeah, and I'm on this one as well, so it could be terrible.
You've got Paddy to contend with this week, so yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. We are live, guys. If you want to post any questions that you've got in the chat, we'll throw as many at Jack as possible. And don't forget that you can also subscribe to the podcast because it's important. Okay, so let's get into it. Jack, the world of transfers is kind of slow at the moment. We're in between transfer windows. I want to talk to you quickly, and I won't spend all night on it, on Ruben Amorim and his appointment at Man United, and where you think he'll be looking in the market.
I mean, at the moment, I think with FFP, it's going to be a bit of a struggle. I imagine he'll come in, he'll assess the squad, and then within reason, look to sort of bring in some of his own players. I mean, you kind of, sort of think would he sort of go for any sporting players, but I think he ruled that out.
Yeah.
And I think that there wasn't a briefing last week about how is Ashworth, they would be taking control of transfers and he wouldn't really get much of a say anyway, other than him being like, oh, I really can't stand that player, don't bring him in.
Yeah, he doesn't have a veto.
Yes.
Basically, he's just a head coach, yeah.
Yeah.
Just a head coach rather than, I don't know how much influence Ten Hag had, obviously, presumably like a lot more.
I mean, look at the squad.
It's
basically Ajax.
Players there, and Dutch players and players played in Holland, etc. So, yeah, I honestly don't know. The thing is, it's hard to say. I don't know much about the guy other than you can kind of look at the rave reviews he's had from people in Portugal, his resume. I did have a look at his Wikipedia, and the fact he's 39, he's been there 4.5 years. I think he's won 2 league titles, and the fact that I hadn't won it for 20 years before that.
Yeah.
Was it 20 years before that?
Yeah.
Then 2 domestic cups as well. So I think I'm guessing it's Benfica he's knocked off their perch. So, and the fact obviously with Man City being linked to him, West Ham to sort of a lesser extent, kind of speaks volumes about it. But it's, I'd be happy if it was Newcastle. I think that's a relatively decent yard. But I think fundamentally as well, you've gone for a young coach, progressive tactics, and as well, I think it was right to sort of get rid of your former coach as well, or manager.
So, you said that you'd take him at Newcastle. We know that Amorim had some conversations with Liverpool. We know that he had some conversations with West Ham. Do you have any knowledge of how those conversations went and how they were left? Because a lot of the conversation from rival football fans on social media is, we rejected your new manager. He was rejected by West Ham, and now he's ended up. Do you know what I mean? The narrative has started already, and he's not even at the bloody seat yet.
There was. In the summer, there was, and this is just going off media reports, so there was a lot linking him to Liverpool, which is probably his side overplaying their hands a little bit because, Klopp was going to leave, so they would have been looking at coaches who would have fit the system. So I imagine they had a conversation. West Ham, that seems pretty genuine. They say it was because that they didn't want to pay his side said it was because they didn't want to pay the release clause, and West Ham said it's for various other reasons as well. So
I think it was leverage, wasn't it? He was trying
to leverage Liverpool.
Oh, he's trying to leverage,
yeah.
For the Liverpool job. But I did see the Man City one today, which is so blatantly came from Man City side.
There were 30. There were like 30 different journalists all briefing that Man City weren't interested.
And you know, this, I think with modern media now, is just because maybe 5 years ago, journalists would get away with that a little bit more than they do now. Nowadays, I think fans are a lot more shrewd than journalists give them credit for. That, you know, they can't just get away with towing the line and relaying whatever the club say. And I do find it quite frustrating. It's not something I want to do in my life this long term at all. It's not, I have no interest in it. But if you do have an opportunity where you are a journalist and you're going to a club regularly, I just feel as a journalist, I don't think you should be an unofficial press officer where you just merely relay whatever you're told by the club without the sort of
without acknowledging that it's from the club, what Man City say.
Yeah. Or even that would work, but
yeah,
it just seems to be pick up the phone. You know, what have you got for me this week? Oh, that's brilliant. I'll publish it without actually firing back on it and just trying to scrutinize basically within you know, you can't go mad with it. I suppose there has to be a careful balance, but it just seems nowadays it's just the club line, and a lot of old school journalists on the beat who go to games and stuff, and they will criticize Romano. And I have a lot of issues with Romano. Like, honestly, I'll go on about it, but he's come about perhaps as a result of their negligence to their craft and the fact they're just able to just churn stuff out from the club. Perhaps a bit of a rant there about it, but yeah.
We love a rant on this podcast.
Can I ask something, Jack? You know, I think I've had people speak to me from a club in the past about issues where if I'm sharing something. Have you ever had any like interactions from club agents or press representatives like saying, "What are you doing? Stop sharing this"?
Honestly, no, because I'm trying to cast them back. Probably because I'm not big enough to have that.
I had it when I was like 5,000 followers when I was sharing the lineups back in the day.
Oh, the lineups. They can get really pissy with the lineups.
Oh, yeah.
They can get pissy with the lineups. Newcastle, one of the press officers at Newcastle got it for me about I didn't actually publish anything, but I asked about whether I think it was Sir Maximan was injured, and he got really irate about that. Why, you think I tell you on a match day? Like, really, like, even if it was just over WhatsApp, it was obvious he was annoyed about it. So I just don't have to tell me. You didn't like have to bite my head off about it. I think
Howe lies so much as well.
Yeah,
I've never known a manager to lie about injuries more.
And who? Sorry,
than Eddie Howe. Every single.
Oh yeah, it's a bit of a running joke. Yeah, he is quite bad for it. I mean, even with injuries and stuff. So it's a bit of a running joke, I suppose. So go. Actually, it might even go beyond Newcastle fans. Where it's like, oh, Isaac will be missing for the Man United game, and everyone will be like, well, he's going to play then.
It's the same with Arteta. Whenever Arteta gives bad news, it's usually good, and whenever he gives good news, it's usually bad.
Oh right, It might just be the sort of media dark arts that some managers.
You know what? I think Pep's the worst for it as well. Especially in terms of the FPL boys, of which like Paddy's a big member of the FPL community. But if Pep Guardiola on a Friday says that someone's not starting, you put them in your FPL team.
Did you see the thing there like last week during the Champions League game after he says Rico Lewis is the only player that I cannot drop. I want to rest him. I really do. But I cannot drop him. Weekend comes around, doesn't play.
Yeah, he's on the bench. He's horrific for it. He said he only had 3 fit defenders, and then Akanji and Gvardiol were both injured, and they both started.
And Gvardiol scored.
Gvardiol scored, yeah. I mean, lying to the press in terms of managers on a Friday is kind of par for the course. But I think briefing journalists, especially around court cases recently, has been absolutely wild. Did you get a bunch of information dropped in your letterbox after the Premier League court case, Jack?
No, Unfortunately, no. What was this in regard to? Sorry. Oh, the court case. Oh, okay.
100
No, no,
Yeah.
no. I wasn't. It goes to the Times, doesn't it? I think basically.
Do you have the press association sort of stuff? I know that costs an absolute fortune.
No, our site. No.
Yeah, that cost a bloody fortune. We were tempted to get it for attacking football, but then seen the fees and I was like, yeah, that AdSense doesn't make enough to afford that.
No. We do not make enough money from Twitter Blue. This
I don't
doesn't
think
happen.
anybody does.
No. Okay, cool. Well, I want to talk about Newcastle as well, mate, because you're a big Newcastle fan. And you know what? I think that you're starting to turn a tide. You've got Isaac back. He's firing. He's scoring goals. It's a good time to be a Newcastle fan at the moment.
Can I ask something though? You have a Brazilian midfielder.
I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for this.
What's the other one called?
Joe Linton.
Hey!
What's this about?
We had a podcast not so long ago where we were talking about I think
It was Premier League
was
predictions.
the Premier League predictions. Yeah.
I said the Newcastle finished top 4. I said they've got one of the best midfielders in England, if not the best. And I referred to Big Joe as Joe Elton.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And they were like, that's not how you say it. And I was like,
we've not let him live it down ever since. Joe Elton.
Yeah, well, you said Nottingham Forest would finish 20th. So, like, we all can say bad things.
Phonetically, Joe, yeah, maybe, maybe in Brazil they pronounce it.
Yeah. Do you know what's the South American guy for the Vickery? Bill Vickery.
Oh yeah,
Bill
yeah.
Vickery,
Yeah. He said that the pronunciation was Joe Ellington. So I was like, I'm saying it.
Well, I mean, if anyone's going to know, it'd be him. I'm
Yeah.
just going off what the commentators say in England,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Yeah.
I was hoping there was like something, at the start of the season where all the players saying the names like Nicholas Jackson.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I was hoping that there'd be one for Joe Elton, but no, never got it. So it is what
No,
it
there
is.
was. Paddy, there was one.
I swear he was in that video, no?
Yeah. You sent us that video to prove your point.
Oh, lads, I need to stop drinking.
Honest to God. Do you know what? I think he said Joe Ellington or Joe Ellington or whatever it was, and you sent us the clip to try and prove us wrong. But listen, you could tell me that his name was pronounced Jack Harvey, and I would still call him Joe Linton because that's what everybody else calls him.
Yeah.
It'd be a weird pronunciation.
It would be, yeah, true. But Jack, back to Newcastle. As I said, good time to be a Newcastle fan at the moment. Are you enjoying it? Is Eddie Howe doing a good job?
Yeah, he is. We had a really bad summer. What did we do? We basically weakened our squad, if anything. We got rid of Elliot Anderson, who was pretty good for us, but now he's been sensational for Nottingham Forest. Minter, who did really well in the Netherlands. He went to Brighton for 30. And we brought in Nottingham Forest's Greek goalkeeper for a sum which seems really, really dodgy to me, to be honest.
That's PSR, isn't it?
It is PSR,
Yeah.
Like
100%.
choice goalkeeper or something like that. I don't think we'll ever see him play, to be honest. And that's all we did. But despite that, I think that I've always been quite pro Eddie Howe. And I was pro Eddie Howe before the Arsenal game, and even before the one where we beat Chelsea on Wednesday. You can't go through 2 windows and not basically have your side, go down a notch and expect to pull off the same result. So it's been okay. It's been a good week. Even if we finished 10th, I'd be quite happy to keep him, to be honest. So
Really?
yeah, to be honest, yeah. I think we'll have a January window, I suppose. So, or maybe 10th's a bit of a stretch, but I think he's done so well for us. And the fact he came in when we hadn't even won a game and it was November or October under Steve Bruce, and to get 4th the next season, and he's had to deal with a lot of change in the summer. Amanda Stavley going, probably because they were crap with numbers and got us in the shit, I think. I presume that was the reason why.
She's
That's
mad,
why.
by the way. Have you heard about
Box
her
of
backstory?
frogs. Yeah.
No. Have you heard about her backstory? She made her first couple billion when she was like 27. She comes from massive wealth. Like her dad owns a big field in the middle of nowhere, with like a theme park and everything. She's super rich. Like comes from wealth. She went over to Dubai or something at 30 and like came in with all like the the sheikhs and all that. And she was massively involved in the Man City deal as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
Like,
she was back in the day.
She was, yeah. She was the one who organized it and everything. Through like her thing like PCP Capital, which sounds like she's selling drugs on the side, but I don't think she is.
She's
But yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, I think
Maybe.
she's involved with the Spurs one as well, or some sort of
yeah,
takeover.
with Qatar, yeah. So she's basically like the middleman for all the Middle East with organizing everything like that.
Huge commissions.
Absolutely,
yeah,
with
imagine.
that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Can I ask about your two players that are your two best players, in my opinion? Isak and Gordon.
Okay.
Obviously, there was massive rumors in the summer about those two players leaving. Like Gordon was linked with Liverpool. That's probably still on the cards. With Salah potentially still going to Saudi as well in the summer because of the contract issue. What do you think is going to happen with them in January?
Oh no, to be fair, I think Gordon signed a new deal.
Oh,
He
okay.
did, yeah.
Yeah, he signed, and that was done a week or so ago, or 2 weeks ago. So I think he's sort of set to stay now.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have thought you said Gamar. I mean, Gordon or Gamara's, I suppose. They're certainly our top three.
Yeah.
I think Gamara's has got a bit of an ego. No, not in a horrible way. I think he
Yeah.
quite likes to be a sort of the
Big
top.
time Charlie, yeah.
And the fact he's a captain now. So I think he'll stay. But Isaac will go. It'd be stupid not to go. He's 25 years old and he's way too good for us. I think he's probably the second best striker in the Premier League, maybe first. No, he's probably the second best.
It's
He's
like
like most versatile. He's 25. It'd be stupid if the only way I could see it is if we got Champions League, which won't happen. But even then, I think.
Has there been any rumors or anything?
He was linked to Arsenal. Yeah, he was linked to Arsenal in the summer.
Yeah.
And
they have
Arsenal
Havertz
desperately need a goal scorer.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
do. Isaac would be almost perfect for them. I should have pushed for him during the summer, to be honest. I don't know why.
It'd be
they
a
didn't.
lot of money. It'd be over 100 million for him, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I would say so.
Has he got a release clause, Jack? Do you know?
Isaac's negotiating a new deal at the moment. Although they were in the summer, now it's kind of stalled a little bit. So, but I don't think he's got a release clause in his current deal because that deal was just in place when he moved from Sociedad. I don't think it would have been negotiated then. But he's contracted until 28, so we've got a good bit of leeway.
You've got his best years tied down already.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. I think. But yeah, I think if we don't get Champions League, he'll be gone.
What about Callum Wilson then in January? Where's he going?
No idea, but he's not playing at the moment. Probably looked. He's with USG. So I imagine they'll just try and get something in Saudi Arabia for him. He's
Really?
now.
Yeah.
He's injured. He's basically gone. I think. I
So
really
then
like
he
Callum Wilson, but
He could go and try and fire Forest into the Champions League.
I don't think they need a goal scorer with Chris Wood, do they?
No, of course.
Yeah.
No. The ex-Liverpool, that ex-Newcastle striker as well, yeah.
We tried to get rid of him. We criticized him so much as well, and for him to be. I mean, one of the worst games was last season. We scored a hat trick against us.
I'd say he loved every moment of that.
At St James's Park as well. Chris Wood scored a hat trick against us. It was absolutely devastating. But yeah, I imagine Wilson will probably go because unless he does like a coaching thing at Newcastle. But other than that,
So, Chris Sleater in the chat is saying Isaac to Chelsea. I mean, I suppose Chelsea are buying every other striker in world football at the moment. But then I can't see Isaac wanting to downgrade from Newcastle to Chelsea.
I'd fire back. Was it Slater who called it?
Yeah.
Chris Sleater, yeah.
I would have thought that he'd be Nick Jackson worry about because he's doing really well this season.
He is doing well.
Development. But Chelsea were linked, weren't they, over the summer? So
Just really with everyone.
but they weren't linked with everyone, and they bought everyone as well. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Can Chelsea with FFPs do 100?
Yeah. They'll sell another hotel.
Just sell another hotel, yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be absolutely fine. Because the Premier League have ruled that, no, the UEFA have ruled that was legal now.
Yeah, he just puts the whole thing to
Yeah, UEFA ruled it was legal.
What about Victor Osimhen? Obviously, he's on loan this season at Galatasaray. The complete breakdown in relationship between them and Napoli as well. Surely there's a Premier League club out there like, let's say, a Newcastle, a Chelsea, who'd move for him.
I'm sure Chelsea would, but I think for us, it'd be the the wage structure. And that's, I mean, if Chelsea weren't willing to pay what he wanted, I don't think we're going to be willing to pay, or even maybe not even afford to pay what he wants. And so, yeah, I don't know what would happen. Maybe he will go to Saudi Arabia because Oshimhen's been linked to there quite a bit.
Oh yeah, I didn't think of it. Like, because you would have thought, because I think their window was open as long. This is just me thinking back. I think their window was open as long as Turkey's. So
Right. I know
it was, yeah.
Right.
But then obviously, like going back to Newcastle, there's obviously been rumors about the Saudi investments in Newcastle and them looking at another club. Have you heard anything about that at all? Or
No, I haven't. To be honest, I have to say, and I may disappoint you a bit here, I haven't really been doing much exclusive work at all past the summer. I've done maybe 3 stories. The last one I did was actually Anthony Gordon's contract about 3 weeks ago.
yeah,
I saw that.
Yeah, I've really sort of moved away from it. I don't really, out of all the aspects of my job, it's probably the least enjoyable.
yeah, it's not really like journalism, is it?
Well, it's not. It's not even journalism. It's like the most frivolous. You know, football journalism is frivolous enough, but transfer journalism, and most transfer stories are just, you know, the most are laced with an agenda. And it'd be wonderful. I could sit and I'd work hard and I could take like 3-4 weeks to cultivate a story, going to so many different sides, but you just can't do that. You just don't have the time in the transfer market to do that.
Yeah.
So, but for me, I'm quite happy to write and do feature things and to be on desk. So, yeah, in terms of information stuff, I've just been a bit. I will pick back up perhaps next month a bit, but I don't really enjoy. I don't like publishing.
The one thing that I've noticed, like since we've started attacking football, even tweeting off my own account, is you can have information which is accurate at the point of when you tweet it, but then something happens, something changes, and then it's like fraud. You don't know. But like that's it. Football changes so rapidly.
Or you get 30 people in your comments saying source. As if you are literally going to tweet them and say, "Oh yeah, I know the bloke who's the kit man at Arsenal, and he told me that Isaac showed up in the back of a police van." You're just not going to say that, are you?
No, you're not.
I mean, if you had that story where it's in the back of a police van, you probably would.
I think, yeah, it's the negativity, and it always corresponds because you could tweet something like Man United are going to buy, I don't know, Yamal. I could do that story tonight or something. They're going to buy Yamal, and typically you'll find like positive comments. But if it's something a bit negative, that's when fans will kick off at you. Even if it is true, and truth as well, it's really hard to, because what isn't is even truth, because we could say, well, truth is whatever, like say it's about Man City and who they like, it's whatever Man City say. But then we saw that story today. It's like, well, was that absolute empirical truth that they weren't interested in your incoming manager? Or is that just what they want you to think?
It's the same sort of stuff which has happened in the past with United players, like with Fred, with Harry Maguire. It's all pure after that point where they're like, yeah, we weren't actually interested in them. But exactly, like as in the thing is you can be discounted or discredited even because a club is like, yeah, that wasn't true. But when really it was.
Yeah, there is that side to it as well. And PR goes a long way. You know, there are a lot of journalists who will fight the corner of the club. And you can tell as well, is when they knock stuff down. Whenever you see a reporter knocking stuff down, as in like, sources say they're not interested in this player, it's because the club have asked them to say that for whatever reason it may be. And I don't think I've ever done it actually, like, because I just wouldn't want to go out there. Well, I'd never had the opportunity for a club to message me. Like, that big. But no,
sometimes it can be brothers and agents, though.
Well,
Paddy.
I'm not saying. I don't. Yeah. There's been multiple brothers and agents who've messaged me and asked me to tweet stuff and.
Recently.
Sometimes was that without going digging too deep, was that to sort of knock something down, or is that more to do with like bigger player up?
knocked something down with one brother, and then another one was telling me to delete something.
Players really do care what's out there,
yeah.
and especially their representative really do care. They do read a lot more than people let on, than people believe. Particularly young and up and coming players love to see themselves in the headlines for whatever reason.
It's just it's as a human, it's nice to see positive things about yourself. And like I'm sure, like I'm sure a lot of football players have their own Durant sort of Twitter account going like, yeah, that's not true.
Yeah.
Please tell me you get the Durant reference. Yeah, the burner. Yeah, the burner.
Yeah.
No, this story ain't true.
Absolutely.
I'm just going to call it back to something you said about Man City, because there's a comment in the chat from Dynamo Drillers Extra saying City signing Amorim would make no sense to us. We would have to rebuild the team, and keystone players like Foden, Rico would not fit in. What do you think about that? Because one day, and probably not too far away, City are going to lose Pep. If they lose their case with the Premier League, Pep's not going to stick around. And there's every chance if they win it, he's also not going to stick around past the end of next season. So one way or another, they're going to be looking for a new manager. And if they bring in a new manager, irrespective of who that is, whether it's an Amorim, whether it's a Nagelsmann, whether it's Xavi or whoever it could be, I don't think they're necessarily looking at a big rebuild.
Oh, they are.
They've still got a lot of really young players in that squad.
They've got a lot of old players in that squad.
Yeah, they do, but it's not as big of a rebuild as Amorim going into Old Trafford, for example.
I think it's a bigger one.
You think it's a bigger one?
Do you?
Obviously, Jack, you can disagree with me here if you want, but a lot of their key players are on the wrong side of 30.
Yeah, to be fair, they might need a massive midfield rebuild.
Yeah,
a midfield rebuild, yes. Kevin De Bruyne is 65.
Gundogan,
Kovacic.
Walker,
Walker, yeah, they're all over the wrong side of 30.
But they are buying young players at the moment.
Like who?
Like Savio,
who's a winger.
But he's a young. What? No, I'm not saying they're buying young midfielders. I'm saying they are addressing the youth problem at the moment, whilst Pep is still there. But
isn't Jack Grealish also almost 30? Like,
yeah, 27, right? 28. Maybe.
Yeah, I think he's not as old as that. I think he's the same age as Rashford. Rashford turned 27 last week, didn't he?
Grealish is 29, 10th of September.
Wow, is he really?
Lads. There you go, lads. He's old as dirt.
It's an old.
Jesus Christ, Paddy, the new Manchester United manager is younger than me.
Yeah, I mean, lots of people are younger than you, bro.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Thank you, mate. Appreciate it. Actually, that reminds me, we had a comment on last week's live stream about the hairlines on the podcast.
I have a fucking all right hairline.
Yeah, we were talking about Ten Hag, and we kept referring to him as bald. So somebody commented, with the amount of hairlines on display on this podcast, I'm surprised you call him bald. I went and got a haircut because of that comment, because I felt so embarrassed.
You shouldn't be getting rid of hair, bro.
No, but I can hide it better now. Look, I could just stick it there now, and my hairline's fine.
Yeah, but also Rodri's going to be 29 in the summer.
To be fair, I just checked it there. So you have the 5th oldest average squad in the league.
Yeah,
Akanji's going to be 30 in the summer as well.
Bruno's 30, right?
Bernardo Silva's 30. Yeah, John Stone's 30.
Stone's 30.
Okay, well, there you go. Dynamo Drillers Extra. You were saying that Ruben Amorim wouldn't come to City because then you'd have to do a big rebuild. You need to fucking do one anyway, pal.
Sort your life out, mate.
Sort your life out, mate. Yeah, Brentford have just gone 1-0 up against Fulham, and it's not either of the two scorers that I needed, which is annoying. But okay, well, we just mentioned Rodri. Jack, you were quite vocal about the Ballon d'Or last week, and vocal in defence of Rodri, I think. What was your take on the nastiness that occurred at the Ballon d'Or, with Real Madrid refusing to go? Florentino, Carlo Ancelotti took to social media to single out 2 of his nominees, leaving one of the other ones quite notably absent from his tweet. There was a lot of shit went down in that ceremony. Yeah,
it's a shame that Real Madrid felt the need to do that, and I find it really disrespectful. I'm no fan of Man City in the slightest, and perhaps even Vinny Jr. would have been a better winner, maybe arguably, than Rodri. But
a bit more glamorous winner.
Oh yeah, certainly. But to go about it in the way he did, I don't think it was on at all. But also, it was quite refreshing to see a central midfielder, or particularly like a number 6, actually win it.
A defensive player, yeah, for sure.
A defensive player, and you don't really see that very often, do you? So,
well, the last defensively minded player to win it was Cannavaro.
Would Modric have been?
Modric is a central midfielder.
Yeah, I know he's a box-to-box, yeah, and he's
on
his line as a 10.
I think I've seen like the last defensive midfielder to win it was Matthias Zimmer for Dortmund in 1996.
He was playing as a sweeper.
Yeah.
He was more as a central defender.
Back in the days of playing as a libero.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think Rodri deserved to win? Has he been the best footballer on the planet for the last year?
I don't know. He's been the best in the planet.
I tell you what, let me ask a different question. Is the quality of contenders for the Ballon d'Or now markedly less than it was 10 years ago?
I mean, Ronaldo and Messi aren't there, are they?
It's bad.
But you look at the top 30 nominees this year versus the top 30 in 2014. It's not the same, is it?
Mbappe, Haaland, Vinny, Harry Kane, these would all... no, fuck off.
you agreed with me at the start there.
Oh, I like Lookman. He scored a hat-trick in the final, but fuck
off.
Lookman, Jesus Christ, Alfie.
Lookman, you're wrong.
Look,
yeah, I think the standard, I think, is a lot worse than previously. I mean, like, if you had looked at a few years ago, we're going back a bit now, like at the top, you had Suarez, Neymar, Messi. Now, Ronaldo, Bale. Now you've got fucking Rodri, Vinny.
You have still players like Salah, though, like, and
he wasn't even on the list.
He wasn't nominated.
Salah's the most underrated player probably in modern history, but then also that's the whole thing about aesthetics in football.
Yeah,
he's rubbish to watch.
Salah.
Yeah, he's rubbish. Bold. He's rubbish to watch. He has highlights, but come on, like 85 minutes of the game, he's fucking pony.
The same could be said about a lot of the world's greatest goal scorers. Like
Haaland as well. He's pony to watch.
Yeah, Haaland he's quite robotic, but then he leans into that, and it almost gives him a bit of a personality.
He's a robot, bro.
Mbappe came sixth. I didn't realize Mbappe came sixth.
Mbappe came sixth. Yeah, did Jude come third?
Yeah, Jude third. Fourth.
I think if England had won the Euros, he would have
probably won
Ballon d'Or. Yeah, to be honest.
Yeah, he might have won it.
The Ballon d'Or is usually a mix of it's like reputation, and then team success and
it's
performance.
Pure, yeah. Like Messi won it last year.
Why
do people care about the Ballon d'Or that much? Like, it's a popularity contest. Nobody gives a shite. Like, as in,
but it didn't used to be. I think it stopped being.
It always has been.
No, but it used to mean more than it does now, and I think it stopped meaning something when they refused to give Lewandowski one.
Was that in 2009?
2021?
Yeah, it was the COVID
season, of course, yeah.
We're not going to do it this year because we can't celebrate it in person. And then
still give it to him.
No, don't give it to him. Have you seen his fucking TikTok dances?
Oh, do you remember them?
Look, you don't win a Ballon d'Or for dancing on TikTok.
No, but you shouldn't win it. You should be discredited and not get it because of it. Fucking disgraceful. Yeah, the man's like 34 doing TikTok dances.
Yeah, okay. Well, look, Jack, if it wasn't going to go to Rodri or it wasn't going to go to Vinny, let's say that we're eliminating both of them for being dickheads. Yeah, who would you have given the Ballon d'Or to?
Yeah, probably maybe Jude. But I'm a bit of a Jude fanboy, to be honest.
Yeah, I do like Jude. I think he's got a bit of Zidane about him. He's got that swagger when he's moving across the pitch.
He does, yeah. And I think the Ballon d'Or is a bit about character and how you carry yourself as well, maybe.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Scott, who would you have given the Ballon d'Or to and you cannot say Mohamed Salah. I'm sorry.
And am I allowed to say Rodri, or is it the same rules?
Same rules.
Look, I'm of the belief that Mbappe is currently the best player in the world just on talent and stuff like that, so I probably would have given it to Mbappe.
Paddy?
Ryan and Boomo.
Has he scored?
Nah.
No.
Shit.
I was sort of doing it as a segue into what we could ask Jack about next.
Oh,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
I know you've wrote a feature about him there recently.
Yeah, I saw that.
Where do you think he shall go if he is to go somewhere?
I think he'll go this summer.
Yeah, I imagine he will.
He's quality. He's so good.
He's ridiculously good, isn't he? I really hope Newcastle would have got him over the summer, but we didn't have the money to either, to be honest. I think it was Brentford have asked for 50 million, apparently.
Which is pennies.
It's not a lot of money.
Premier League player doing that.
Yeah.
He's got 9 goals in 10 already.
Yeah.
Something ridiculous. And he may score.
He had a
score against
stormer
Man.
last season when Wissa was out injured as well. He had an absolute stormer.
Yes, right. He missed like most of the second half of the season, I think.
Yeah.
He's a really, really good player.
So underrated as well.
Yeah,
I would give Christian Eriksen back to them for Mbuemo.
I think we'd have to give a bit more than that. Let's be honest.
you'd rather Eriksen than Mbeumo.
If Salah, the contract situation doesn't get sorted out, if the Salah contract situation is sorted and he does go, he's my top pick to come in and replace Salah.
And absolute, that has to happen. Like, that's the most logical move I think I've ever seen. Like, when Salah goes in the summer to Saudi, big if, that's the most logical move I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think that's probably about right, to be fair. On Mbeumo and Wissa, 2 players who are probably... Look, we did a podcast earlier this year about the best players outside of the top 6, and I think Mbeumo and Wissa probably deserve to be in that. Do you think they're making their manager look a lot better than he is, which is why he's getting linked to jobs like Manchester United?
I think that's because I think when they first came up, he in that first season in the Premier League he did really well, and it's only sort of the last 2 seasons that maybe they've pushed on a bit. So I don't know. I think like Thomas Frank going to United. You mean like?
Yes.
I don't think that would have been the best. I don't think that would have been the best one for you personally. He's a really good coach, but he's not a Man United coach, I don't think. But he's done great at Brentford, and I'm sure he'll go on to do wonderful things in the Premier League. But I feel for you guys, it probably wouldn't have been right. Both of them, probably. I don't know, maybe. It's hard to tell, isn't it, really? It's hard to tell.
We're a career ender for so many managers.
We are, unfortunately.
It's incredible what you no offense, but what you do to some players. You just come in, just get eviscerated.
It's because of the fan base, let's be honest.
It is,
It's so difficult to move into an environment where you just have the media, the fans on you. And, like, look at what's happening to Manuel Ugarte now. As in, they've signed him to be a defensive midfielder. And people are looking at him thinking, you know what, he doesn't do step overs, he's rubbish. Like, people just don't understand football.
Well, a lot of social media football fans are nine years old. That's half the problem.
Alfie's there in the corner just being like, how dare you say that about me? Alfie's like, oh, I swear I'm double that, almost.
Okay. Another thing that I wanted to talk to you about, Jack, do you find that being a journalist, if you're spending time curating a story, and I know you said you haven't done this in a little while because you've been working on other things, which is great. But when you're curating a story and you're looking for sources on a specific move or a specific player, and then you'll see one of the other journalists, one of the 2 who were
Fabrizio Romano, your favorite man in the world.
Yeah. One of the 2 who we're not going to name gets the story out before you've had a chance to. Is that a little bit disheartening? Has that happened to you?
I'm sure it has. It happened to my friend Ollie, who runs a Newcastle blog, and he had a line about Mark Gahey before it was published, and he decided to sit on it for the evening and publish in the morning first thing. And I think it was half an hour later. I think it was Romano tweeted about it. I'm sure there have been instances where that has happened. Maybe during like the summer of 22. Sounds so old, like the summer of 22. When I first started doing it. But I think you kind of just stop. I don't really mind as much now. I think I've been really bothered by it before, but now I really couldn't care. Like, to be honest, if I'm the first to it or not. It probably has happened. But nothing recently that I can recall. It's more, I suppose I'd be a bit more annoyed if I put a story out and then it wasn't at least acknowledged by one of the big accounts. That would be annoying.
I think that's happened to us a few times as well.
Yeah, well, on one hand, you kind of go, well, I guess reporters can't just look for everything. But it is nice to sort of just be noticed, isn't it? And for them just to maybe have a little scan to see, you know, is this already out there? So I don't know, but I'm sure they, I
think there's been times where we've put something out and we've even like we've DM'd them it saying, "Oh, we've put out this news," like just let them know, and then like they'll just completely air it and they won't even respond, and then like maybe like 2 hours later they'll put up the same news but from a different source that literally just put it up about 10 minutes ago.
Really?
Yeah, that's happened. Yeah. There's a famous instance with Chido Obi Martin recently where Finn Academy Scoop got the inside track on that move and that happening, and he broke it, and then a number of other accounts posted it. One of them being your man that Paddy mentioned earlier on. But I mean, to Fabrizio's credit, he very quickly retracted and gave Finn the credit for it. But
that's because people kept on adding in the mention, give credit where it's due. This is not your exclusive.
Yeah, it is happening more and more. Do you think there is a place for almost crowdsourced journalism, which is kind of what we're doing in a way? And none of us are professional journalists.
Paddy,
what's your day job?
I'm saying Scott, and Scott's been paid.
Scott, Scott and Dylan, fair enough. Most of us aren't, but we still get the odd bit of news here and there. And when we do get to post it, it doesn't get necessarily the acknowledgement or the traction that some of the bigger boys would get.
I think maybe like 5 years ago, I would have said, stay out my way. I did like a journalist qualification 2018. I was like proper on it and everything like that. But at the end of the day, you go with the times, and you guys may hate the guy, but I've always been like quite not pro like I watch him, because I don't watch him. It's no of interest to me, but Mark Goldbridge. And you guys you might hate him. I don't know. That's absolutely fine.
But he follows us. That's fine.
No, I think the thing is with him, you have to realize that it's a character, and
it may be a character, maybe an expansion of who he is, but what he has been, he'd been, and I was saying Arsenal Fan TV actually when that first came, the media attacked them, they had a go at them, and now all of a sudden they're just trying to emulate them in a way, and it's the direction that it's going. Sure, why? Like, absolutely. Like the way I started doing this, like transfer stuff, was doing what you guys did as well. I would DM agents and I try and build a rapport with them, and hopefully they'd give me something. Most of the time they ignored me. So
give you some breadcrumbs,
And so if you got an interaction with someone and they've given it to you, and you know they're the agent or whatever, then why shouldn't you? It's not like, who am I to be like, no, you can't do that, you got to do this? Like, no, absolutely not. I think it's great. And in the long run, if it becomes apparent that you're not just saying stuff for the hell of it, then you will be recognized, and that will serve you better as well. And that helps. People say about clickbait and stuff, and that can be true. It's in the short term to make something up and be like, oh, this club like this player. Yeah, it may give you a hit in the short term, and your site, but actually in the long run, it really pays to be reliable. It really, really does, more so than just having that hit of dopamine, whatever people have from it. I don't know.
Yeah. I think
So-
Paddy could probably give you a list of social media accounts that do nothing but peddle falsehoods and lies. There's that fake Italian Paddy that you love so much. There's
Oh yeah, he's blocked me. Yeah.
When's that
yeah.
one? When's that?
Oh, what was his name?
I
He
can't
had
remember
that
his name now.
stupid thing where I was
Ekrim.
like,
Ekrim.
no, not Ekrim Kunali or whatever the
Oh,
fuck his
Locked
name
and
is.
Loaded.
Yeah,
Locked
Locked
and
and
Loaded.
Loaded.
Yeah,
me.
that guy.
Nick Semorano.
Nick
Yeah.
Semorano, yeah. And then you've got your Ross Harwoods, and
Oh,
you've
yeah,
got
the Ross Harwood, yeah.
he's so funny, man. Then
You
there's
got that
another
odds on
one.
FPL guy as well.
Yeah, there's another one who claimed that Branthwaite had signed his contract and the deal was done. And I think that was day 2 of the transfer window. And to this day, it's still his pinned tweet. He's blocked me. And then famously, you've got Indy Callier.
That's
Yeah,
my,
but look at
made
Indy.
it.
that's my goat.
Indy's the GOAT. Let's be honest. That man
Yeah,
built an
but-
empire.
He's
And he's
never
like-
been right once.
Doesn't
No.
matter.
No, I actually think I actually think he has actual sources now. The other day he put out a tweet saying, "Oh, Liverpool news coming up at 10," and there was like no Liverpool news out at all. And then within like half an hour of him tweeting that, there was talks about Van Dijk contract breakthroughs.
Ah, come on. That's just getting lucky.
It is, yeah.
I know, but he's done it on countless occasions.
Twice a day.
Yeah, but like, as in, you can tweet out. I could tweet out something going like, "Oh, there's going to be breaking Man United news in the next 72 days." And you know what? Technically, I could be right. You know,
You could be.
It's
There's a scattergun approach to some of them.
It's different now when you say it in a matter of hours, though. 72 days.
Jack, can I ask something then? I know obviously you are moving away from going on writing about transfers and moving more towards features. What kind of content is that to you? Is that like stories about clubs currently, or is it like historical posts? What would be your sort of passion project, I guess?
In terms of writing at the moment, it would just be I quite like data and analytics. I'm not very good at it yet, so I am like a bit of a stat stance. I do like a stat. So it'd be stuff around that. I do find transfer stuff quite interesting to talk about. I have had a mind to sort of. I do have a YouTube channel, but I just don't know. I'm always like, oh, I should get some guests on and stuff. But I just always just go.
We're here, Jack. Just ask us. We're here.
Yeah, I know. I invite you on. Mate. I invite you on, but
You did invite me on. That's fair. Yeah, you did.
But I just never do it for some reason.
You get tired after a long day. You're like, you know what? I just want to fucking relax.
It is being in front of the computer screen for so long, and you just want to disengage of it.
Yeah.
Twitter's changed a lot as well recently, which makes it harder to engage. Because that can be quite fun. I find, with Twitter and the online community, it used to be quite fun. I find that harder now to enjoy it, and I don't really use it that much, I have to say.
Is that because a lot of Twitter now is geared towards the more interactions you get, the more money that you can earn as a blue tick holder, and
it's almost by stake
and yeah, exactly, the stake sponsorships, and it's almost geared towards interaction farming now as opposed to genuine discourse on a topic.
It's definitely gone down a few levels, but I think I was even before that. I was just not really particularly enjoying it. And what I tend to find as well, if I want to post something as a fan, and it's just an opinion that people don't agree with, they're like, "Oh, stop farming for engagement." It's like, I'm literally just saying, like, and my football opinions are so shit as well. So I do understand, but I do like to express my view. But they seem to think, oh, it's because you know, who's paying you? It has to be like some crazy agenda.
You're only tweeting for that money off Twitter. Every fucking month, I show how much I make.
Whatever it is.
Yeah, I made like 13 quid from it, and I spent 13 quid on it.
Yeah.
I've got a full-time job. I make more in an hour than I make a month on Twitter.
Yes.
Yeah.
I could just focus on my job and get good at that. Yeah. You know what? I could just focus on my job and actually get good at it and earn more money. But I don't.
Yeah, I mean, the people on Twitter who accuse me, Paddy, attacking football, you, of literally rage baiting for interactions are the people who can't afford Twitter Blue and therefore don't know how little you get paid for it. If you do manage to hit the threshold of 5 million interactions in 3 months, which is not that easy to do, to be fair, if you've got less than 5,000 followers, for example.
Post tweets of Anthony every single day and you get loads.
Yes, you can do that. That is a legitimate way of doing it. But unless you're like Fabrizio Romano, he's got 28 million followers. Every single one of his tweets gets 2-3 million interactions. You're probably making a few £100 a month, maybe.
I don't know with Romano. Maybe when it gets to that sort of level, you get more and more. I saw someone share something with me that he makes 50 grand a month on Twitter alone. I don't know how true that was, but it was.
There's
like
no
chance.
way.
But it might be the case that they put more ads on tweets that get on accounts that get a load of interactions.
Yeah, maybe that might be true actually. Yeah, but even then, I think Fabrizio makes more money from his endorsements than he does from Twitter. X, whatever. I'm never going to call it X.
I'm sure there's many ways he makes money. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
sure.
I
Like,
think
he had the thing in Saudi over the summer as well, where he was doing a live podcast over in Saudi.
Oh, the Moon Pig, whether it was Moon.
Yeah, something like that. That was nuts. He must have been paid a fortune for that.
Yeah.
And he had what's that thing? Is it when you pay a celebrity to like
Cameo.
Yeah.
He did that. He did one for like this girl. What was it? Do you see that?
Twist my nips. Yeah. Funnily enough.
Here we go, twist my nips.
Here we go, twist my nips.
Yeah. Shout out Elsa. Shout out Elsa. Yeah. We'll have a conversation about that another time. But
I can't believe you wanted an OnlyFans model on the podcast, you fucking muppet.
I was buzzing, but you not bottled it.
Listen, she's a very lovely girl. I didn't know that she was an OnlyFans girl, but look, we may still have her on the podcast one day.
No, we will not.
Why? Why not?
Paddy,
Lads, it's not happening.
Okay, so if ever I want to leave the Attacking Football podcast, I'm just going to start an OnlyFans because that's Paddy's line in the sand. That's going to be my resignation. I'm just going to send him
all I'm going to say is you won't make a lot of money on it.
No, I will not make a lot of money, to be fair.
Maybe start selling feet pics, you never know.
Well, just with like this.
Oh yeah, just over your face. That would be lovely.
Yeah, that'll do. Fuck me, this podcast has gone downhill. Have we got any viewers left? Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
if you are watching, boys, I'm really sorry. Jack, I'm going to apologise to you as well because this is going off the rails now.
Jack, just for context, this is why they don't make me go on the podcast too much.
I was going to say, This I think this is his third podcast this year, and there's a reason for that. Fuck, I don't even know where to go from here now.
Get your
Jack, Jack, is there anything in particular you want to talk about? Do you want to plug your podcast? Do you want to plug transfers.com?
No, it's all right.
It's just like, I don't want to be associated.
Not anymore. No. Guilty by association.
I actually do have a good one. So Edu Gaspar today obviously has been talked about leaving Arsenal and moving to Nottingham Forest. Obviously Arsenal haven't confirmed it. Neither have Nottingham Forest, but that seems like a really exciting move. What are the implications, do you think? Obviously, we don't know the inside of it or whatever, but do you think that has implications, just on your own personal opinion, for Arteta potentially at Arsenal? Because I know they've got a great working relationship.
Can do. We saw over the summer with Newcastle, Eddie Howe, when they had a new sporting director come in, a new personnel, the dynamic can be a bit frosty. That could be possible, you know. It's come at a really bad time for them as well. I think they would have liked that after a big win, but to lose to Newcastle and then basically be out the title race, I imagine now, and then that to happen, it's awful. I can't imagine that. It sounds like it probably was quite quick. How it's all been done, because there's no way, if they knew about that a month ago, that any sane club would be happy to, you know, do
it after a win.
Sorry?
Exactly. Do it after a win, exactly.
Do it after a win. Do it after beating, like, you know, a close rival, but after losing to Newcastle. St James's Park. Really bad timing. I'm sure I don't know, maybe it's looking pretty bad for Arsenal now. I missed it twice and it doesn't look good this season, so maybe Arteta will go in the summer as well. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, Edu was unilaterally behind Arteta, so like no matter what, it seemed like Arteta was going to stay. But now, if it's another season or two of Arsenal not winning a trophy, the new sporting director might come in and say it's time for you to leave.
That's so nuts to me, isn't it? Like, that seems so bizarre.
How long do you think Arteta can go without delivering a league title before he has to go.
Yeah, I imagine it'd be. Oh, I don't know. This season.
Every
I
passing season, his stock is falling just that little bit further.
How close were they last? Like, was it last season? Were
No,
they
last-
close?
Yeah, they
last
were
year
long-
went down to the last
Yeah,
game
they
of the
came
season.
second last season. Yeah,
And they won the record number of wins in Arsenal's history during a league season,
Yeah.
which counts for something, I suppose.
Yeah, well, Liverpool fans tried to make it seem like it was something when they finished second with the most amount of points second ever got. Isn't that right, Scott?
yeah.
Yeah, but you know, like 97 points, that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
And it's
zero
not,
titles, zero bitches.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Paddy, can you just mute for the next 15
Yeah,
minutes?
yeah,
And
sure.
we might get
I'll
through this
go
podcast.
down here.
Thanks,
I'll go
man.
down here.
Appreciate it. No, but genuinely, I think there are a lot of very young, very hungry managers, very talented managers on the market at the moment. That
Eddie Howe.
Eddie Howe is one that really could do a very, very good job at Arsenal with the players that they've got.
I agree. I hope he wouldn't leave. But I don't know what's happening with his relationship with Paul Mitchell. And, you know, if they struggle in January and they're not able to sort of meet eye to eye, maybe he will leave. And I like Newcastle, but I think, you know, Arsenal are the bigger club. It's probably a bigger project. So it'd be silly not to look at it if the chips fall that way. But I hope they don't, you know. So yeah. I don't know, maybe you know, Ten Hag would go to Arsenal, who knows?
I'd love to see that.
I'd love for him to go there and win like a Champions League or league title. It'd be so funny to laugh at United fans.
He'll probably go to Red Bull Salzburg or something like that. You know, like Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah.
When did you want Ten Hag out? Was
me?
Yeah, but all of you really. Was it
Never.
towards the end of last season or after the FA Cup win? Were you still?
I think for me it was probably 2 or 3 games into this season that I publicly went, look, this fella's got to go now. I know Paddy went a lot earlier than that, but I didn't jump on the Ten Hag out train. I was quite happy to give him a little bit of time, but that patience ran out really, really quickly. The beginning of this season, when he had an entire summer and a proper preseason with a bunch of new signings that his new board got in really early for him so he could work with them. A lot of the players that he complained about being missing last season were back, and we started the season with a 1-0 win over Fulham, and we didn't play great, and then we lost the next 2. And it was just the same old. And I was just sat there thinking to myself, he's not learned. He got so close to losing his job in the summer. They flew over to Ibiza and went, look, we literally can't find anybody else. You'll do. I think that's literally what happened. And he didn't. He had the chance there to look in the mirror and go, right, what I'm doing isn't working.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the drawing board and have a proper crack at it next season. And he just didn't do it. He did exactly the same thing. He put 70 yards of space in the midfield and went, right, well, we'll get the ball from here to there via osmosis and just hope that somebody puts the ball in the net. And it didn't work. And that's when I lost patience. That's when I went, that's enough.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of fans seem to lose patience after the Spurs came, which was quite late.
Yeah, the game he said didn't happen.
Well, he said that along the lines of, well, it doesn't count because we had a man sent off.
Oh, yeah, that's how football works.
Yeah.
Something along them lines, anyway. Even though that was probably the worst half of football you played all season, I think.
Yeah, quite possibly. Frustratingly, we actually played quite well against Crystal Palace as well in the 0-0. We're probably the best football that we've played this season. We just couldn't get a goal in it. But Paddy, when did chances? We have been, but you've got to put them in. Paddy, when did you jump on the Ten Hag out train?
Jesus, I don't even know. A long time ago.
It was a while ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like, there was rumors back last year that he was leaving, and there was like the Zerbi talk in January and February. I just don't know. Like, I was thinking probably around January last year. The performances were crap. We were knocked out last place in the Champions League.
Yeah.
Like we would just like around September and October, the performances just started going poorly. I remember around Christmas, we lost like 4 games or something, and I was just like, I'm sick of this. I don't know. I think with Ten Hag, sometimes we got results which papered over cracks. Like I remember,
Oh, yeah.
I was at a stag in Berlin, and I was watching the Brentford game in a dorm room, and I was just watching us play against Brentford, and I was like, this is so bad. But the thing is, I had come to a point where I was accepting that the football was crap, and we were grinding out results. And as soon as Scott McTominay scored, I was like, get in, delighted. But then I also knew they saved them. I thought
Yeah.
at
It
that
happened a few
point,
times, didn't it? It happened like
Yeah.
3-4 last season.
Yeah.
And it was always Scott McTominay.
It
yeah,
always got
our,
McTominay. He came
our
in
Harry
as a
Maguire.
box crasher.
Yeah, our Harry Maguire.
Um,
And these are
and-
players he didn't want. Well,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even because I watched Man United for a fair bit, and I always struggled. Even to be honest, even in the first season, I'd watch you play games, and you'd win a game, and it'd even be you'd never. I struggle to recall a game where Ten Hag utterly dominated a game.
yeah, me too.
Dominated.
Probably against Barnsley. That's about
There
it.
was one. We beat Spurs 3-0. Ronaldo got a hat trick.
Oh, the
no,
Newcastle
absolutely.
No,
that on the
Newcastle
Ragnar?
wasn't. Yeah. Yeah, that
No,
wasn't.
no.
Yeah, that wasn't. Yeah, I got that one wrong. Yeah,
Yeah, no, that
Ronaldo
there
was
was
under
there was
Ole,
a
yeah.
but
The
there,
Ronaldo
yeah,
hack was 3-2, weren't it?
it was 3-2. That's it. Yeah, but
Wasn't
it was
domination
against
either.
Spurs. Yeah, but the game I'm talking about where he got a hat trick was not the game that I'm referring to. I got the game wrong. There was a game against Spurs that we absolutely dominated them from minute 1 to minute 90.
Oh yeah, no, you're right.
And I remember thinking,
Right,
do you know what? The tide is turning here. And I think we lost the following game.
Was
And it was just back to the same.
that his first season?
It was his first season, yeah.
That was his first season. Okay, yeah, that's fair enough. Well, I mean, Rashford during that period, because you had a bit of rough bit around, you lost to Brentford.
Yeah.
No, Liverpool
Lost
came
to-
later, but you had a period around November to February, and I think this when Rashford got his 30 goals or thereabouts.
Yes.
Really
Just
strong.
after the World Cup.
Yes, but then towards the end of the second of his first season, I don't know, I watched a few games, but even last season when you beat Everton and you won 3-0, but it didn't seem like a 3-0. Garnacho scored a wonderful goal.
Is that the overhead kick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goal of the season.
And but you just
like the results were always like whenever we had a good result, it was better. The result was better than the performance.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
remember like last season when we played against Burnley, when Burnley had the young English goalkeeper in goal, Trafford, and they were floundering. They played us off the park,
Yeah.
and we only drew with them. But like, I sort of came to like a conclusion in my own head that like either I'm not seeing something that other people are doing, or like that Smithers meme where it's like maybe I'm wrong. No, it's the children. That was me. Because everybody was backing him blindly. For a person with so little personality, I just didn't see it. I didn't know what other people saw in it either. But yeah, probably would have been January or December last year where I just felt like I'd had enough.
But it's hard, isn't it, when you're winning games, but everything else is terrible.
Yeah. Like, because the thing is, when you win a game as well, it gives a manager like, oh, yeah, I got another few weeks, and you're just like, this is just kicking the can down the road.
Also, it gives the manager the sense that he was right in what he's doing. It's like, see, I was right. We've won a game doing the thing that I think that we should be doing, when really they probably should have lost the game. And it's reinforcing the bad things that the manager's doing as opposed to highlighting the good things, which is what Ten Hag's reign became.
I think
that's what winning the League Cup and the FA Cup did for him is, see, I was right. I won those competitions.
Two trophies. But like to be honest, I think any manager, if we look back on it, and I'll try and put a positive spin on it, I think any manager coming into a squad which has that many egos in it, like if you look at Varane, Casemiro, Ronaldo, Sancho, it's always going to be difficult to get ahead of that, especially when you're coming from the Eredivisie. He had to deal with Ronaldo fucking moaning nonstop. And then half the players loved Ronaldo, idolized him. Garnacho during the U Cup celebrated by doing a suey.
Yeah.
Like, and then Dallow's his bloody shadow. So like,
Yeah.
the thing is, yeah, it was obviously difficult, and like he did have to deal with like David De Gea as well. There's so many players that another manager probably would have fared as bad, but he got rid of all those players, and then the football was still shite. So, you know,
And to be fair, to give Ten Hag credit, he was right in both of those instances. 3 of those
Oh,
instances.
yeah,
He was
every
right
single
with
one,
David De
yeah.
Gea. He was right with Ronaldo, and he was right with Sancho. He was, and the Sancho thing, he is being proved right every single weekend that Sancho is ill at Chelsea. He's
Yeah.
still being proved right on that one. But that doesn't. I can see Jack's little wry smile.
Apparently Sancho back in the day, even when he was at Dortmund, he was just very likes his video games. Was even at Dortmund's late. This it's pretty out. Probably reported on like a year ago or stuff. But he was always late. Very much all the stuff that Ten Hag brought up, really. And I don't think that would change. It's a shame because he's so talented, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't he? But
his career is done at this stage. Let's be honest.
I
He's never
think
going to
Sancho-
be. He's never going to be what he is.
Sancho does well when he's a big fish in a little pond, when he is the main guy, like he was at Dortmund. He had Haaland with him for a little while, but I think that's where he thrives when he goes into the big pond and there's loads of big fish. I don't think his ego handles it very well.
Well, like as in Jack, as you're saying there, when he was in Dortmund, he was late all the time. I don't know what was reported on at United, but he was regularly late at United. Regularly. And there's so many, you know yourself, sometimes you get things you can't talk about or report on or whatever. But like I said, he was late all the time. It wasn't a 1 or 2 or 3 times thing, regularly. After he was banned from the team, there was a tweet out where some random bloke was playing him at like fucking 4 a.m. on FIFA.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, so like as in it's
what was that again? Because I do vaguely remember that. Essentially, like Sancho was playing FIFA and he was doing shit at FIFA as well.
He lost 4-1. I have it here. GG, Sancho, get some sleep, bro.
Genuinely though, so Sancho, you might get the best out of his foot. Like, you don't say this from any football players at his age, but you genuinely might get the best out of his career if he went to Saudi Arabia because of the weather.
Time difference.
Yeah, no, because of the weather over there. Usually those teams, they train quite late at night.
Well, that would generally be a good logistical point.
Yeah.
To go over there.
And you don't know excuse for being late then.
I think he likes a bevy though, so I'm not too sure about that.
Well, okay. Listen, I think we need to wrap it up. That is all that we have time for this week. I hope you enjoyed the OnlyFans. I hope you enjoyed the chat about Newcastle United. If you did, and you want to see an OnlyFan girl on the podcast, subscribe and let Paddy know in the comments. Jack, thank you for coming on again. I really appreciate it. I'm sure we'll talk more in the coming weeks. But for now, thank you everybody for coming on. Scott, Alfie, Paddy. Good to see you as always.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. See you next week, guys.